Hey all, today I thought I'd show you how I start one of my drawings. We're going to be prepping up our drawing board, getting the paper ready to go and start another one of these things. So, try not to bang my head on the roof here. First things first, we need a good drawing board. So this is my drawing board. I bought this one, it's a thicker one. The other drawing I'm working on is on a thinner drawing board and it's not quite as nice. You need a good thick board to draw on. Because this wood, what I've done, I've put some paper down on it just to help stop the texture of the wood coming through. So the first thing I'm going to do is get a nice big sheet of paper to go on here. So here we go, this is my paper of choice, A2 heavyweight sea white cartridge paper. So this takes a lot of abuse from the pencil and the eraser, which is why I like it. I have used Bristol board in the past, but I find Bristol board's got like a purpley tone to it, so it looks a bit odd to me, whereas this is more creamy white. So there we go, we got our first bit of paper here off the pad. Get rid of that now and I'll show you what I do next. But what I like to do, if you've seen my drawing board, I like to put a border around on the paper. So A2 size, I use a 5cm border. And as it happens, I'm lucky I got this big ruler and it's exactly 5cm wide. So I can just quickly pencil in where my guides are going to go for my masking tape. So if you're wondering why I leave a border, it's because I can then put it in a mount. So I can get like a 4cm mount to go into the frame, and then the picture has a nice little double border with the signature and the type of the picture on. Other artists do it differently, but that's how I like to do it, and that's why I'm going to carry on doing it. So there. So there we go now, I've marked my 5cm border all around the paper, and that's there to help me guide where I'm going to put my masking tape. So I'm going to get rid of this and I'll be back in a moment. Here we go now, masking tape. So I use this masking tape first. Now this is the low tack masking tape. So I've talked about this in videos before, but the reason we use this one first and on the paper is because when you peel it off, it does the least amount of damage to the paper. If you just use a bog standard masking tape like this, when you start peeling it off at the end of your picture, it will take loads of the paper with it. So low tack masking tape, important. Stick it to the lines. So we've got my guidelines there, I've just penciled in. Take a rough length, break it off. There we go, so just line the tape up along the pencil mark. It's a nice straight line on our drawing, in theory. Doesn't always work. In fact, I can see that has gone over the line. So as you can see, this is low tack, so look how it comes off. Low tack just means less sticky, if you're wondering. So it comes off fine, and I can reuse it there now, because I had actually gone over the line. So I would have had a weird floaty line when I'd finished, which would be no good. These little details are important to me. Right, so we can put that back to where we want it. Right, and now I've got a firm anchor. Do one. Right, now what I'm going to do a double layer of the low tack, because if I put tape on there, it's going to tear that bit of the paper, and I don't want the paper to tear. So put two lots on, and then I can put the other masking tape over the top. The reason we put the other masking tape over the top is because this one is low tack, it tends to peel, so it doesn't stick to the wood so well. So when we put this one over the top, it just holds it all in place. Okay, so I'll do the other three sides, super fast. Whew, okay, there we go. So that's the low tack tape now on. So now the paper's protected. around the edges there, but it's going to come off. So we're going to use some of this cheap masking tape, any old cheap nonsense, because you just stick it on top of the low tack tape and it holds it all in place. Okay, so there we go, drawing board ready to go. So that might seem like a lot of work, but it's good to have a nice proper tidy drawing surface, and I find this is the best way for me. So I got the paper underneath to stop the patterns of the wood coming through. I've got the low tack tape to protect the board. I got the cheap tape to hold the paper in place. The low tack doesn't protect the board, does it? It protects the paper. You know what I meant. Getting old, I can't talk properly and my head's almost banging on the wall, yeah. But there we go, drawing board ready to go. So we'll go to step 2. We need something to put on the drawing board, don't we? To be continued. So here we go, this is where my images always start, on the computer, funnily enough. So what I'm going to do, I'll show you the image now, then I'm going to be putting on the paper. So the next job for me to do is to print this out, ready to go and be transferred. So there we go, now we've got our print out. That's come from the computer. That's an A2 size print, because I've got this big beast of a printer that goes up to A2. So that's why I do all my Gicley prints on, or Gicley, however you say it. So next up, we take a graphite stump. This one's a 4B, I think. And I'm gonna, the back of my print. And then that way I can do a rough outline from the print to the paper. Yes, it's tracing. No, it's not cheating. Artists have been doing it for hundreds and hundreds of years, you know. Not cheating at all. I could do it with a grid, I could do it freehand. I've done all those methods and this is my favourite. Do you know why? Because it's fast. Oh, it's tiring work this. We're going to swap to the other arm now and have a workout on the other arm. It doesn't have to be tidy. It doesn't matter where it goes. We just want to be able to leave ourselves a bit of an outline when we rough in our major sort of areas. I've got one of these makeup smudgers and I'm just going to make sure we got a good cover on everything. So what I'll do, I'll put that on the drawing board. Whew. And then I'll just trace the basic shapes down. So, you know, I've done this as a digital piece, I could put it like that, but the problem is, because it's all made up of disparate elements, there's damaged photos, there's bits that I'm going to change, there's dark bits that are missing. I can't do that as a digital image, it'd take too much work to stitch it all together. So what I'm going to do is a drawing. And then the drawing, my task during the drawing will be to put all the detail in that I don't trace, put all the tone in that I don't trace, and put it all in one picture plane so it looks like it all belongs together, which means adjusting tones, values of light and dark, so they all sit together as a believable image. So here we go, next bit. So as you can see, I've just cut the corners off the paper, so we've still got the graphite on the back there. Take the drawing board, and then the reason that I've done that is so I can now register the image to the border, the corners, and I can register the image up there. So now that should be perfectly situated where I want it in the image. And I've just realised I've run out of masking tape. Oh no. Okay, so that's now in place. I've improvised and used some craft tape instead, but that won't damage the tape underneath. I don't think when I take it off. So now I've got my image ready to transfer, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use a very soft pencil, not press very hard, and just lightly trace the important shapes onto the paper so they'll transfer from the graphite that's on the back, and then I'll just have a little guide to go through when I start drawing. So I'll show you that now. Okay, so here we go. It's actually taken a couple of hours to get to this point. So you see I've got my print of the image there. What I've done, I've just basically traced some of the outlines there. So there's lots of stuff I've not put in, just because I'm gonna do it in the actual drawing. But this is my main sort of shapes that have gone in, and we'll see what it looks like now when I take this off. Okay, here we go. We're gonna take the tape off, and hopefully I've got a decent trace of the photo that I've spent 2 hours actually tracing it. There we go. There's just like the little trace. I'll show you in a bit more detail now. Get rid of this. I got a bit of a trace now of the image through. So there's a basic, you can see. Sort of like there's no real tone or shadows, just outlines. And there's lots of bits that are missing detail that I'm going to have to actually fill in manually, because the original source photo I'm using has things covering where I want those patterns to be. There's loads of areas of the photo. So there we have it. Now I've got my paper, I can start doing the proper drawing. So it'll probably be a good 20-30 hours on this from this stage, which has taken me about 3 hours to get to already. There we go.